Hey anglers, the Fisherman Surf and Inshore Fishing Show is Wednesday, September 12th at the Huntington Hilton. See seminars by the region's best surf and inshore experts. First 500 through the doors receive a goodie bag worth more than the price of admission. Check out the free workshops and see more than 75 vendors with the latest fishing gear. Don't miss this opportunity to get ready for the fall run. Visit thefisherman.com for more information.
Meet Eddie Kelly, 15 years old, aboard the Lisa Marie at Jersey Cape, about 80 miles offshore over the Labor Day weekend, trolling for white marlin in the Ocean City Marlin and Tuna Club's tournament. A 66-pound mahi. They won the contest, broke the club record for mahi, and would have beat New Jersey state record by nearly 3 pounds. A double gaffer. It's one heck of a fish. I'm Jim Hutchinson with the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine. No, I'm not offshore. I'm actually hanging out one of my favorite spots in the Pine Barrens, watching the fighter jets work overhead. But I'll tell you what, if you can get away from the inshore and away from the inland, just a little offshore is where you want to be. It's Mahi Madness. There's no other way of saying it. You should really try and take advantage of this fishery while these fish are there. Double gaffers offshore, gaffers mid-range, and the inshore grounds are loaded with chickens, like this one for young Parker Curtis here. He's fishing with his dad, Matt, using peanuts and Clark spoons, only about 3 miles out. I gotta tell you, mahi are one of the fastest growing fish in the ocean. Even the rabidly extreme IUCN folks call mahi a species of least concern. They're capable of reproducing within their first several months. 4 to 5 months old, and they start to spawn at 8 inches in length. Might spawn every 2 to 3 days as well, and they only last 5 years. I bring that up because a lot of folks are concerned because there's all these mahi inshore and in tight, but there is a 10 fish bag limit, folks, per person, and you're only allowed 60 per vessel. But keep that 8 to 10 inch spawning size range in mind as you're out there picking up a couple of these fish. Now, folks have hit the inshore pots pretty good, as you would expect. And a lot of folks are getting out there saying they're not finding them. Get on those pots early. Also get on them often. If you hit them in the morning, you might want to try it again in the afternoon. But if you snooze, you lose. But they're definitely worth a shot. And as well as those mahi, the cobia are inshore as well. I think that warm tropical water that's come in is making opportunities galore. Spanish mackerel, bonita, false albacore, and of course those cobia. Mark Garone was quick enough to respond to what he saw, a cobia swimming through a school of peanuts while fishing aboard the Jamaica 2, and scored this big cobia last week. Bucktails, I gotta tell you that. It worked for Mike, and it's probably the most effective presentation outside of live bait if you do see one of those giant torpedoes in the water. Of course, you can't go wrong as long as you have live peanuts in the well. A couple of hound fish, too, have shown up in some of our reports. Showed up for Tim and Patrick, who are fishing aboard the Stray Cat out of Longport last week. Never caught a hound fish myself. Not much to eat on them. It's not an edible species, but they're exciting to catch. Folks have told me about them. Leaping out of the water like marlin, an incredible light tackle opportunity. And how about that yellowfin, that big yellowfin that appeared in Longport over the Labor Day holiday? Check that out in our fishing reports this week for the Fisherman magazine. But apparently, this giant yellowfin was seen around the Longport Pier and then eventually had a suicidal attack on bait, landed on the rocks, and was thus dragged out off the beach. Now, you can't get an HMS permit if you're a surf fisherman. So if you happen into a bluefin or yellowfin in the surf, which does happen from time to time, you can't get permitted as a surf caster. It only applies to the boat. So it's a very thin, gray, blurry line, folks. You want to be very careful on that one. Again, bonita too, inshore and in the surf. Gabriel Tackle and Brick showed us that they had this one come in via concrete in Manasquan Inlet. Manasquan Inlet has been the basis of several blitzes over the last several weeks of blues, bonita, probably some false albacore, and some Spanish mackerel in there as well, and I've heard of a couple of stripers in as well. Fluking, of course, now is entering the home stretch in New Jersey. September 22nd is as long as we get to fish for them. But those big doormats all along the coast, they're feeding on peanut bunker and all the bait they possibly can before they hit that migration all the way out to the eastern grounds. Now, Paulie Wagner hit this 10.11 pound fluke in Ambrose Channel. Ambrose, deep channel up on the Raritan, always giving up some of those big fish. He brought that one back to Wagner's Marina. We're also getting some good reports out of Shark River. Folks are fishing, I hear, the rattlesnake. Also, Axel Carlson has been producing. But the party boats like the big Mohawk, putting some big fish on board. Gates Tackle had Jeff Simpson report back with a 7-pounder that he caught in Manasquan Inlet on a live killie. Killies, gulp, peanut bunker, big strip baits out of Barnegat. Boats like the Carolyn Ann 3, the Miss Barnegat Light, the Mary Ann. They're finding good fish now too, ostensibly on those reef sites, probably the Tires, Barnegat Light, perhaps even on out to the Ridge. And it ain't over yet in Cape May County either. We are getting some good reports down there as well. Most of it is outside on the structure, but Dan Cavanaugh was fishing the Gardens area of Ocean City over the holiday weekend, had this 8-pounder on gulp, checked in with the folks at Fanatics. Now, I do say the structure, the Cape May Reef, the Old Grounds, the Wildwood Reef, Delaware Reef sites, they're all hot. But Mike Finn, he found one in Delaware Bay, 6-pounder. Got that from our South Jersey editor. That Fortescue fleet has been finding quite a few flounder over the last several weeks. And we do have a storm system to contend with heading into this weekend that's definitely worth keeping an eye on. We've got remnants of Gordon coming up from the south and southwest, sure to bring some rain by sometime this weekend into the start of next week. Meanwhile, we'll have to keep our eye on Florence. It's coming up from the southeast and bringing heavy swells. That could be a hurricane system to really pay attention to by Monday, expecting some place around Bermuda, but it's already throwing some heavy swells our way. The offshore forecast from the Hudson to the Baltimore, Saturday and Sunday, does not look very good. Looks pretty cruddy to say the least. And I always worry about how fluke are going to respond to these first tropical systems. A lot of times those fluke just know it and they start heading offshore. But hopefully we'll be safe, and we just have to keep an eye on things. Now, of course, if you get weathered out in the weekend ahead, don't forget, you might want to tie in someplace nice and calm in the back bay, anchor up and do a little bit of chum pot fishing like Adam Eastburn did, blow fishing in 8 feet of water near the BI buoy in Barnegat Bay. Now, don't forget, we've got our Surf and Inshore show September 12th from 6 to 11 p.m. That's out in Long Island at the Huntington Hilton. Without traffic, consider that about an hour from the Verrazano. Definitely worth checking out. Going to go back to enjoying my jets before I get out and do some fishing myself. Catch them up this weekend. Enjoy it. We have the crowds minimized after Labor Day, of course. The beaches are yours. Enjoy it. We'll see you again next week right here at thefisherman.com.
Win the incredible Steiger Craft, Evinrude, Lowrance Grand Prize Boat Package and more in the Fisherman's 2018 Dream Boat Fishing Challenge. Get the details at thefisherman.com.